Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste, Guruji.
Pranam Guruji. Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Pranam Guruji.
Pranam, pranam. So in the last class, we completed the previous sloka. And now we will go to the next sloka. This is sloka number 5 in our list, or sloka number 11 as per the original text. Okay. I will read the sloka. Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastupalabdhaye vastu siddhir vicharena nakinchit karma kotibhihi. So the anvaya for this sloka is karma chittasya shuddhaye natu vastupalabdhaye vastu siddhihi vicharena. You can add upanabdhaye karma kotibhihi na kinchit. You can again supply upalabdhaye to complete the sentence. So the word meaning karma. Karma basically means any action. Normally we refer to the Vaidika karmas, the dharmic, the vihita karmas which have been ordained in the Vedas. So those karmas, chitta shuddhaye, they are meant for purification of the mind. Natu, and not vastupalabdhaye, for gaining the or knowing the knowledge of or knowing the truth. So here the upalabdhaye we must translate it as knowing, and vastu as the truth, the reality. Then vastu siddhihi, the knowledge of the truth, vicharena, is by inquiry, karma kotibhihi, by even crores of actions, na kinchit upalabdhaye, not even a little of the truth will be known or is known. So action is for purification of the mind and not for gaining or knowing the truth. Knowledge of the truth can be gained only by inquiry, by vichara, and not even a little knowledge can be gained by crores of actions. This sloka actually, it's a very, very famous sloka of quoted by Acharyas. Because here Shankaracharya is making it very clear what is the one and only route to moksha. We already discussed earlier that in one of the earlier slokas, he dismissed that four-path theory. And here, he is saying this is the only path. So he makes a very important point. What is that? spiritual sadhana consists of two stages. The first stage is preparing the mind, and the second stage is receiving the knowledge. And this verse clearly sets out the place of action in the pursuit of knowledge. Any action that we do is meant for chitta shuddhi, purification of the mind, and not for gaining knowledge of the self. As I said, action, we must understand not any activity, but those activities that are enjoined by the scriptures. It excludes the prohibited actions. So two things you have to note. When we say karma, it is not only refers to what are ordained in the Vedas, but also includes non-performance of the prohibited actions. For example, the Veda says Suramna Pibet. Prohibition. You must not consume alcohol. So you say, I am doing all actions as per as prescribed in the Vedas. But in the evenings, I have happy hours or whatever it is, when I go and visit the pubs and all that. That is done, you are not doing karma yoga. So you must not do prohibited actions and you must do the prescribed actions. Therefore, the actions talked about here are ennobling and prayerful actions like rituals, japa, yajna, various other forms of religious discipline, you can say in short. And without preparing the mind, knowledge cannot be received. If the mind is prepared and the knowledge is still not received, then it will be a prepared mind, but liberation or moksha will not be possible. So it is not just preparation of the mind is important. Both preparation and acquisition of knowledge must be given equal importance. Initially preparation, later acquisition of knowledge. And all the preparatory disciplines put together are called karma yoga. So when we talk of karma yoga, it consists of all the sadhanas like doing puja, doing meditation, doing japa, doing rituals, going on pilgrimages, varieties of yogic practices, reaching out karmas, dharmic karmas, all of them are karma which come under karma yoga definition. Even upasana yoga or upasana will fall within karma yoga only. Therefore, karma yoga is the generic name for all preparatory sadhanas. And a person has to go through them, get equipped to receive the knowledge. And then, of course, he has to gain the knowledge to get liberation. And therefore, here says the starting point, Chittassa Shuddhaye Karma. So, Karma Yoga is very important for Chitta Shuddhi, or Chitta Shuddhi means purification of the mind. And without that, it is not possible to gain jnana. And Karma Yoga can give only Chitta Shuddhi. This also we must be very clearly understand. It cannot give knowledge. Chitta basically means mind. Most of you will know. Shuddhi means purification. So Chitta Shuddhi can happen by Karma Yoga. Natu vastu palabdhaye. Vastu in Vedantic context means reality. which is actually another name for Atma. Atma, Brahman, Vastu, truth, the reality, only reality. All these words are synonymous words. Upalabdhi means gaining or attaining. So Vastu Upalabdhaye means gaining Atma Jnanam. Therefore, any amount of karma yoga will not lead to Atma Jnanam. Naturally, now the question will be, then Atma Jnanam comes by what method? Adi Shankara, anticipating such a question, answers, Vastu Siddhi Vicharena. As I said, we can supply Upalabdhaye, gained. Very important, because if you remember Mangala Shloka, the very first word there is what? Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. Atma is one which can be known only through Vedantic scriptures or Upanishadic scriptures. Tam Agocharam, it cannot be known through any other method. Shankaracharya, you can connect the two. Just as I to look at my face, I have to make use of a mirror. Similarly, for knowing myself, my real self, I have to make use of a mirror called Upanishads. And the Upanishads present the self-knowledge through a consistent and systematic teaching method. This method of teaching is called Sampradaya. And how do you employ the teaching method given by the scriptures? By making self-inquiry, using the teaching, studying the scriptures. Therefore, self-inquiry is to be done with the help of the scriptural teaching. What does that mean? By inquiring the scriptural teaching, inquiring into the scriptural teaching, I have to understand the self, my Atma, my reality. The more I inquire into scriptural teaching, the more I keep understanding about myself clearly. It is just like, I took the example of a mirror. When I look at a mirror, superficially seeing, it may appear that I am looking into the mirror. But really speaking, looking into the mirror is looking at my own face only. Nobody looks at the mirror to see how the mirror is, isn't it? We first, even when a new mirror comes, whether it is nice or not, we look at our face in that. Whether my face is being shown correctly or there is some differences, concave, convex and all that. Am I looking nice? So many people have got mirror just at their entry, entry exit door in the main door of the house. There in the wall, they will hang a mirror. Why, whenever they go out, they will just look at the mirror. See their face is okay, hair is all properly set. So it's not just for some beauty or anything there. It's not a decoration in the house. It is there for a purpose, to look at yourself. Similarly, Shastra Dharpana, the spiritual mirror, is used to look into its teaching. The more I study the scriptures consistently and systematically, the more I understand myself. Therefore, self-inquiry is scriptural inquiry. Scriptural inquiry is self-inquiry. Both are synonymous. Therefore, Vastu Siddhi means attainment of the reality. In this context, we can take the knowledge of the reality. Vicharena eva bhavati is possible only through self-inquiry. which is accomplished through Vedantic inquiry. And then he adds, okay, I will do karmas and I will also do Vedantic inquiry. Maybe possibility karma yoga will deliver moksha. Because I will, many people have this, plan A, plan B kind of a thing. So he immediately says, Vastu Siddhi Vicharena Eva Vastu Siddhi Bhavati Na Kinchit Karma Kotibihi. Even a tiny little of the knowledge of the self is not gained by karma kotibihi, by crores of countless karma yoga sadhanas. Therefore, if one says, I will not do inquiry, I will not study the Upanishad, but I will do more and more karma yoga sadhanas like puja, more meditation, I will do hatha yoga for 2 hours every day and all that. What we will say, that's all very well, very good. It will purify your mind more and more, but all these cannot be a substitute for self-inquiry, for gaining knowledge, for gaining Atma-jnanam. Therefore, this karma yoga sadhana should be practiced up to a particular level. Thereafter, those karma yoga sadhana should be gradually replaced by jnana yoga sadhana. Therefore, here in this sloka, Acharya says both are important. It is not that one is more important than the other. Both are equally important. Therefore, what are the milestones in the spiritual path? Practice karma yoga, purify the mind, purify and prepare the mind, you can say. Come to jnana yoga, study the Upanishad, make inquiry into the Upanishad, do Shravanam, Mananam, study Bhagavad Gita, inquire into the true nature of the self, right from Lord's own mouth, or as I say, from the horse's mouth. Krishna himself is teaching. Inquire into the reality, know yourself as the only reality, and then last stage you reach moksha, become free. Get released from the bondage of samsara. Jump from the ocean of samsara to the ocean called devotion, and there attain the scholarship. Travel in worship and scholarship ships. So here he says, one must do self-inquiry by studying the Prasthanatrayam. Now question is, okay, very good, I will do karma yoga, I will also study Upanishads, I will go and buy all the books which are available, check with my friends also, any videos are available and things like that and all. I will spend 4-5 hours every day and study the Upanishads. So question now is that the right approach? Does that mean that one can do self-study and gain freedom or liberation? Acharya answers that question in the next sloka. Sloka number 6 as per our list and 15 as per original text. Ato vichara kartavya jignasoratma vastunah samasadhyadaya sindhum gurum brahma viduttamam. The Anvaya is Ataha Gurum Dayasindhum Brahma Viduttamam Samasadhya Jignasoho Atma Vastunaha Vicharaha Kartavyaha. The word meanings Ataha, therefore, Gurum, the teacher, Daya Sindhum, one who is an ocean of compassion. Brahma Viduttamam, the best amongst the knowers of Brahman. Samasadhya, having properly approached. Jignasoho, on the part of one who wants to know. Atma Vastunaha, of the truth of oneself. Vicharaha, inquiry, kartavyaha is to be done. Therefore, Acharya says, having properly approached the teacher, who is an ocean of compassion and the best among the knowers of Brahman, inquiry into the truth of oneself is to be done by the one who wants to know the truth. So now, when I talk about the self-inquiry, the question would be, for what purpose? Why should I do self-inquiry? Is it because I have nothing better to do in my life that I should take up self-inquiry by studying the Prasthanatrayam? Many people have got this, You see, you keep on saying happiness, happiness. I am as such very happy. I am not, I have no sorrow or anything and no grief at all. Why should I go through all these kind of things? Pujya Swamiji actually, he narrates this, because the people come and ask these such questions to even Mahatmas like Swamiji. He says, people come, they're all settled abroad, tons of bank balances, big mansion, everything is there, very happy children, they're all grown up. So this person is very happy in life. I come to Swamiji, why should I go to Vedanta and all that? Swamiji says, just listen to them, keep talking to them, keep engaging them in conversation, ask them about their life. How is this? How is that? How are your children? What are they doing? Keep on asking. Swamiji says, once that person becomes a little comfortable with you, he will open up. He will say, yes, Swamiji, actually my children are very good, they are very well placed, earning, very good salaries and all that, but still, many times I feel that, they don't listen to what advice we give them, me and my wife. And so that bothers me sometimes. So Swamiji says, yeah, that is true. Now you see, first admission of something bothering you. Then if you keep talking to him, he says, you will go one more step. Say, everything is fine, I am in a very good position and all that. But Swamiji, last year I was actually supposed to get the CEO position, but somebody who was junior to me was elevated. It's okay, I'm just managing it like that. So when actually people claim that, I'm very happy and all that, deep inside is buried a lot of sorrow, which will actually surface at some time or the other. Because that attachment with things and objects and people and situation has not yet gone. So therefore, if there are any doctors, they will know, when you have a deep wound in your body, sometimes, you have an incision has been made to remove, some infected part of the flesh or whatever it is. Then that healing has to take place. Because that infection is there. So what the doctors do and all is, they are very careful in how it is healed. In fact, the healing has to take place from the bottom of that incision, and it has to come up, 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 up. Otherwise, what will happen? If the skin grows and closes that incision, then the infection is still inside, but from outside it will appear as if everything is fine. And one fine day, that infection will become a big problem rather. Similarly, here also, when we think that we are very happy, at some corner of the mind, there will be certainly some grief, some disappointments, some things, some memories which can actually later on grow into a big issue. And Vedanta and scriptures recognize all that. So, when the person asks, why I should do all these things, we should understand very well that the whole purpose of indulging in all these is because I want freedom, liberation from all my miseries, present and future, and potential miseries also. And not only that, unhappiness in this birth, and also I want to avoid these unpleasant situations being carried forward to my next birth. How can I do that? I don't want any more birth. That is my goal. And that is what is called moksha. And that goal can be achieved only by one method, self-knowledge. But self-knowledge is not an end in itself. The spiritual pursuit is for freedom and not for self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is only an enabling factor in this moksha, in getting liberation or freedom. But we must clearly understand the connection between freedom, moksha, and self-knowledge, right? And which is the subject matter of Vedanta, and this must be very clear. The knowledge is a sadhana, a means, and moksha is a sadhya, the end. Because what the scriptures, Vedanta or Upanishad say is, my dear, you are already free. It is because of your ignorance of your real self, you are not aware of it. And that is the root cause of all your problems. You are looking for freedom, whereas actually you are already free. You are immortal. You are eternal. You are formless. You are unchangeable. All these things say what you are, the Upanishads may clearly bring out. Your whole biodata it writes. But not the biodata of your body, mind, sense complex, which is what you have taken yourself to be by mistake or by misconception. Your misunderstanding is that. It gives you your biodata as your real nature. What is your real nature? Therefore, when we talk about the relationship between the means, the knowledge, and the end, moksha, actually speaking, there is no distance involved really. There is no distance between knowledge and moksha. Atma is already free, so knowing it as free is moksha. What is the distance involved? Therefore, what is involved here is only knowledge. And to gain that knowledge, one should make inquiry. Vicharaha kartavyaha. So vichara means not the Tamil vichara. Right? People who are Tamil knowing people will know. Vicharam means worries. Vichara in Sanskrit means inquiry. Self-inquiry, you can say, in this context. Therefore, gaining knowledge through self-inquiry is not an end in itself. It is a means for moksha, freedom or liberation. What you are pursuing is moksha and not just self-knowledge. But you cannot get moksha without pursuing self-knowledge. And in this sloka, Shankaracharya, after having said that gaining knowledge by self-inquiry is the only means to moksha, sounds a warning in this sloka. He says one should not undertake self-study of the scriptures. So this is one more very important note he adds. Nobody should conduct self-scriptural inquiry by himself or herself independently. Why? Because it may lead to misunderstanding of the scriptures. When I talk of my real self, my Atma, absolute reality is an extremely subtle thing. Subtle, I wouldn't even call it a thing. It is a very subtle, extremely subtle concept. It is not available for any other instrument or any other means of knowledge to be known. It is not perceptible through the sense organs or even powerful instruments like microscope, telescope, whatever scope you want to employ. It is ati sukshmam, extremely subtle. Therefore, the scriptures have to make use of some ingenious methods of communication. Otherwise, they will not be able to make you understand, because the only connection is through words now. Therefore, different methods, or what they call it, prakriyas, are used by the scriptures. A particular methodology of communication is called a prakriya. And several prakriyas are used. And so, we should know how to use those prakriyas properly. It's like, whenever we use any gadget, even on a house, laptop or, mixie or anything for that matter, we should know how to use them properly. Similarly, scripture should be studied by employing appropriate methods. Scriptures themselves suggest that you should study them from a guru only. No choice is given by the scriptures. When the scriptures are studied from a guru alone, then alone it will be effective. It will be converted into liberating knowledge. Otherwise, yes, you will learn, you will know all the Upanishads. You will have scholarship. Sanskrit scholars and Upanishad scholars, you can quote this mantra, that mantra, here and there and all that. It will not lead to any moksha or freedom. It will not lead, that knowledge that you have got, it will not lead to liberating knowledge. Therefore, all Upanishads uniformly declare that Guru is compulsory. Even if there are some special spiritual geniuses who gain self-knowledge without a guru. We have seen, this, one great classic example that we have come across is Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Tradition says it is not that they did not have a guru. They are born a spiritual genius because in Purva Janma Sadhana, in which they had a guru, they have learnt all these things. For some reason, they could not completely attain that knowledge and get liberated. Some prarabdha karma, small portion of prarabdha karma was acting as an obstacle, so they had to take another birth. Therefore, even in their case, there was a guru in the previous janma. In fact, Ramana Maharshi was asked once this very specific question. Shastras say that you must have a guru, but you don't have any guru. We are not aware of any guru of yours. How did you get moksha or freedom? Very simply, because Ramana Maharshi is a man of very few words. He asked only one question: what do you know about my previous janma? That's the question. Nobody knows. And answered the question also. The Mundaka Upanishad specifically says, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmanaha Nirvedamayan Nastya Kritakritena Tadvigyanartam Sa Gurumeva Bhigachet Samitpanihi Srotriyam Brahmanishtam. One of the most popular mantras of Mundaka Upanishad, which even Swami Paramarthananda quotes quite often in his talks. Tadvigyanartam sagurum eva abhigachet. This is the declaration of all our scriptures, and that is what Shankaracharya is mentioning here. Atah vicharah kartavyah jignasoho atma vastunah. Atah, therefore, vicharah kartavyah. Self-inquiry should be made, should be done in the form of spiritual inquiry. So, vichara is atma vichara. Analysis, inquiry, consistent and systematic study. And atma vastuna, atma refers to the absolute reality, pratyagatma, the inner self. Paramarthika satya atma. And whenever we talk of inner self, the word inner should be understood very carefully. It indicates extreme subtleness and not a location. It should not be understood that Atma is buried somewhere deep inside our body, and then we have to dive deep within to discover it. We have to understand that the Atma or Brahman is all pervasive and is also eternal. All pervasive means was available everywhere. Therefore, if it is understood that inner means it is available only deep within, it cannot be eternal, it cannot be all pervasive. And this is why you must not undertake self-study. Because when Upanishads make these statements, Pratyagatma, Pratyag means inner, then you will come, oh, okay, the Atma I have to discover is deep inside me. Now I have to do one thing, I have to travel inside me and then reach that Atma. All these kind of wrong understandings will come. That is why you require a guru who is trained in actually unfolding what the Upanishads want to tell you. Upanishad study is not meant for ordinary intellectual people. It requires a very high degree of intellect and knowledge of Sanskrit language is also very helpful in understanding the Upanishads. But then because a lot of people in today's age will not have Sanskrit knowledge, that is why gurus or acharyas conduct these talks in English or Tamil, but at the same time they will explain the meaning of the Sanskrit words because the scriptures are in Sanskrit. They will go extra length to explain the meanings, but the lack of knowledge of Sanskrit can be managed, but not the thinking capacity, high level of intellect cannot be replaced. No guru can give that. So a sadhaka, a mumukshu, a jigyasu has to have very deep thinking capacity. So atma vastunah vicharah kartavyah. Self-inquiry through scriptural study should be done. So, as I said, must not. I've seen people, they will take up Upanishads and they will take up some Sanskrit to English dictionary. Warnier Williams, there are so many dictionaries are available. So they will take up Ishavasya Upanishad. In fact, this is something which Puja Swamiji used to say. So they will take up Ishavasya Upanishad. The first mantra of Ishavasya Upanishad, which we chant at the end of every class, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. They will read this mantra. So the first word is what? Om Purnam Adaha. They will immediately go to the dictionary and find what is the meaning of the word Purnam. Purnam, the dictionary will say, means whole, complete, full, etc. So what they will do, they will translate the Shanti Pata by saying, okay, Purnam means the whole. This is the whole, Purnam Adaha. That is the whole, Adaha Purnam. Purnamidam, this is whole. This whole has come from that whole. When you remove the whole from whole, whole alone remains. This is the literal translation of this mantra. So what do you understand from this translation? Nothing. Swamiji used to say, in your head also, there is only whole, H-O-L-E remains. So this is what will happen if people indulge in self-studies. We should understand what is the Purnam here refers to. Purnam is not just merely whole in the sense that we understand the word. Purnam refers to Brahman, which is the whole, which is the entire universe is pervaded by Brahman. So this can be taught only by an Acharya who understands what is the meaning of the word Purnam used in this mantra in this context of a Upanishad. These are all the dangers of studying the Upanishads or the scriptures on one's own, rather. Therefore, even to understand this Purnamidam Shanti Pataha, you have to know all the Upanishads. Because how do you get the word Purnam as Brahman? Because when you know all the Upanishads, you will know that this word Purnam has been used in different Upanishads, the context in which they have used, and it has always referred to Brahman. So that knowledge of all the Upanishads, you will have to gain, and that has got to be done through a systematic and consistent study, which can only be done under a guru. And that too in a short time. Otherwise, you will keep on studying year after year, each Upanishad. What you have studied after 4 years, first year you will forget what you have studied. That is, after 4 years, you will forget what you have studied in the first year. The connection you will not get. With the help of a literal translation, if you try to understand, it will not work. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, Gurum Samasadhya, may you be humble enough to go to a guru, go to a teacher who is qualified to unfold the message of the Upanishads. In fact, humility is the first and foremost quality required for a sadhaka. In Bhagavad Gita also, while talking about various qualifications of a disciple, of a sadhaka, the first one Lord Krishna mentions is Amanitvam. Amanitvam means humility, burying your ego. Therefore, may you be humble, accept the necessity of a guru, go to a guru, and don't expect the guru to come to your place and teach. Samasadhya indicates you go to his place, do namaskar. Tadvijnanartham sa gurumeva bhigachet. Samitpanihi. Don't go empty handed to a guru. Guru does not require anything from you, but something. Because in those days, during the Vedic period, Guru will be doing lot of yajnas and all that, for which samit is required. No? Samit is that dry wood which is, this of a particular tree. We have to get it from the forest. So those days, the Shishyas, what they will do, they will go to the forest before going to a guru, collect some of these twigs, and then go to the guru and give that as Guru Dakshina. Samitpanihi. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. That is the nature of the guru, Shrotriya. Very well versed in the Shastras, in the Upanishads, in Prasthanatrayam, and Brahmanishtam, always abides in his real self. He has distanced himself sufficiently from his body, mind, sense complex and knows fully well about his real nature, and he abides in his real nature always. So may you do namaskara to the teacher, serve the teacher for some time, please the teacher. Shankaracharya himself will tell all these things later, okay? And when the teacher is pleased with you, request him to teach, and then he will give you wisdom. So Gurum Samasadhya, having approached the Guru, what type of a Guru? He describes them as Daya Sindhum Gurum Brahma Viduttamam. Daya Sindhum, ocean of compassion. One who has got compassion to give you the self-knowledge without expecting anything in return. Because a jnani doesn't require anything in life. When he knows that he is Purnam, what else can make him full? Nothing else can make him full. So he doesn't require anything. The only price that you have to pay is your Shraddha and Bhakti. Once you express your Shraddha and Bhakti, he will feel compassion to you as a spiritual seeker. And that compassionate Guru, Daya Sindhu, will teach you. Sindhu means ocean, Daya means compassion. I think most of you will know that. So Daya Sindhu means ocean of compassion. And who is also a Brahmavid Uttamam. Brahmavid means one who is a knower of Brahman. Who is knower of the Atma. Brahmam Veti iti Brahmavid. And Uttamam means the best. So Uttamaha Brahmavid ityartaha. What do you mean by best knower of the self? It means that the one who has internalized the fact that he himself is Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. He has fully internalized this mantra, this fact. He has changed the perspective about himself. He doesn't look upon himself as an individual in the creation. He looks upon the entire creation as something which is existing in himself. He is the adhishthanam for the entire creation because he is Brahman. When he says Aham Brahmasmi, it is his autobiography that he is presenting. And such a person who is Brahmanishtaha, who is Shrotriyaha, to such a Guru may you go. Therefore, what are the 4 points made so far? Liberation is possible only through self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is possible only through self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is possible only through scriptural study or scriptural inquiry. And scriptural inquiry is possible only through the teaching of a qualified guru. Therefore, a mumukshu should become a jignyasu. A jignyasu should become a sushrushu. So, mumukshu to jignyasu to sushrushu. This is the path, various stations in the spiritual path. Mumukshu means seeker of moksha, who has a keen desire that I want to be liberated. Jignasu means seeker of knowledge. Once the intense desire has fructified, and he understands that I can reach that goal of moksha only through gaining knowledge, and he starts going for seeking that knowledge, he becomes a jignasu, who is a seeker of knowledge. Then he becomes a sushrushu. Sushrusha basically means service, doing service. But the verbal root shru has got the meaning of listening or inquiry also. So we can take it in both the ways. Sushrusha can also mean shrotum icha, means desire to listen. It is nothing but the next logical step after jignasa. Once you have a desire to gain the knowledge as the desire has come, obviously the next logical step is you go and receive that knowledge from a guru. And by implication, Shushrusha also means doing service to the teacher. Therefore, we can understand Shushrusha means the one who serves the guru and the one who seeks to listen to the guru's teaching. Therefore, may you become interested in listening to a consistent, systematic teaching program of a compassionate guru. And with this, the jnana sadhana is over. So, the message that he has given is jnana deva tu kaivalyam. Now, all these things you have to understand because they are all the very foundations of Vedanta. If such a strong foundation is not there, what will happen? We'll be groping in darkness like a blindfolded person left in a huge forest. In Tamil, they say, kannak katti kaatla uttam. Sorry, because I'm a Tamilian, all these things come rather. But those who don't know Tamil, it's like a blindfolded person who is just abandoned in a huge forest. What can he do? He doesn't know where to go. So he will just be trying, going here, there. Similarly, we will be doing varieties of sadhana. After some time, we will find that we are not making any progress, that we are stagnating. All that problem will come. And this will be avoided if you go to a guru. So now, having dealt with the topic of how to gain self-knowledge, the next topic that comes up, which Swami Paramathananda has chosen as a part of these 108 verses, is Adhikaritvam, which again is a very fundamental topic there. So we will read the next verse, verse number 7, as per our list, verse number 14, as per the original text. Adhikarinamasaste phalasiddhirvisheshatah upayadeshakaladhyah satyasmin sahakarinah. So the Anvaya is Phalasiddhihi Visheshatah Adhikarinam Ashaste Deshakaladhyah Asmin Sahakarinah Upayah Santi. Phalasiddhihi, accomplishment of the desired end, which is in this case moksha. Visheshataha, especially adhikarinam, a qualified person, ashaste, calls for or depends upon. Deshakaladhyaha, place and time, etc. Asmin, in this pursuit, sahakarinaha upayaha, auxiliary means, santi are. So what does this sloka say? Accomplishment of the desired goal, right? Desired end, especially calls for a qualified person. Place, time, etc. are auxiliary means in this pursuit. Therefore, in this verse, the means which are helpful for moksha are described. There are a number of factors helpful for accomplishing the goal of gaining freedom. So here Shankaracharya wants to emphasize. When the previous sloka, he talked about the qualities of a guru. So here he wants to emphasize that if the student has to benefit from the teachings of the guru, not only a well-qualified guru is required, the student also must have a prepared mind or a prepared intellect. We saw earlier itself, chittasya shuddhaye karma. Therefore, if the receiver's mind is not prepared, even the best guru or even Bhagavan himself will not be able to make the student receive the knowledge. It will be like trying to sow the best seed in an unprepared soil or a field. Because agriculturists know this. For sowing any seed, they have to prepare the soil or the field, till it, do sort of things. I don't even know all the details. And then only they can sow the seeds rather. Maybe this process may take even a few months. And especially if the field has not been used for a very long time, they have to till it and then leave it for some time for all the nutrients in the soil to get generated. All this, there's a lot of technicalities involved. People who are interested in agricultural science will know all these things. And this is for just some crop seed. In the case of spiritual knowledge, it may even take years to prepare the mind or the intellect. In fact, Lord Krishna says in the Gita itself, Prayatna Dhyatamanhastu Yogi Samshuddha Kilbishah Aneka Janma Samsiddhi Tato Yati Param Gatim. He says, Aneka Janma Samsiddhi. Striving diligently, that yogi who is refined through many births and who is free from the impurities attains the supreme goal consequently. Therefore, a lot of preparatory ground we have to cover before commencing the study. Obviously, the next logical question will be, how does one prepare the mind? We have already touched upon that earlier in this thing. But here Shankaracharya indicates you should prepare the mind in such a way that the mind should be able to gain the fourfold qualifications, which we have seen, Tattva Bodha students have seen in Tattva Bodha, called Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. That should be gained to receive this knowledge. Because presently the mind is full of impurities, fascination for material things, emotionally attached to people, things, and situations. Even to non-living things, there are emotional attachment like house, furniture. There are people who are so attached even to their old shoes that even when they buy new ones, they don't have the mind to throw the old ones. Old clothes is another example. Go to any house. Cupboard after cupboard full of clothes. Old clothes, new clothes. People sometimes they take a New Year resolution. If whenever I buy a new cloth, I will, throw the old or give it to somebody. But that never happens. Maybe once or twice they will do, but it will never happen. Therefore, the mind requires a lot of preparation in the form of cleansing of impurities, make it emotionally independent, etc., so that the seeds of Atma Jnanam can be sown and nurtured, which will bear the fruit of moksha. More, I will take in the, I'll say the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Namaste,
Thank
Guruji.
you very much, all of you.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you,
Guruji.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji, thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Guruji.
Guruji,
Yes.
my apologies.
Uh,
Now, I am a little confused with this knowledge and knowledge of self. Now, for example, in the modern times, in the corporate sector and all, they do what is called self-appraisal before they are up.
Yeah.
Like in our case, we only used to, sign on the dotted line in the annual confidence report, get the medical report, annual medical done, and over. That's all. We know nothing thereafter.
Yes.
Whereas today's day and day, they all have the self-appraisal. Likewise, this knowledge of self and knowledge, there's a little confusing for me at least. I don't know about the others, of course.
Yeah, it is confusing. That is why you need to study and clear the confusion. Because whenever we are referring to self, who are you? Suppose I ask, what will be your answer?
You will give your name, age, date of, like
I
that.
am
That may be more of a self-introduction. Yeah, self-introduction.
Self-introduction, correct. The word
Yes.
self we are using as a substitute for referring to the body, mind, sense complex. Your name belongs to your body, correct? The body has got a certain structure, a height, weight, and features.
Correct.
The name belongs to that. That's why, we identify ourselves with what? Passport or any document, photo put. Self-attested.
Aadhaar card.
Self-attested
Correct.
photo, you attested yourself, right? We put a photo.
Correct.
Why? Because that name and photo should match. Similarly, many people don't even go to the next level. At least people who are little bit knowledgeable, they will say, okay, I have got a physical self. Then I have got an internal self, which comprises of all the organs or the faculties which I have got, like mind, my brain, right? They are not seen outside. Your mind and your brain cannot be seen by other people. Your digestion process cannot be seen by other people. But all those things are there going within you. That also belongs to the self. Isn't it? Your physical body,
Absolutely.
which is encasement for all these things, is going there. Is representing that also, which is what we call a subtle body. Subtle because neither we can see them, nor other people can see them, but they exist. Correct? We will only experience them when something goes wrong. Isn't it?
True.
But we say, with what do you see? Suppose the question is asked to us. With what do you see? We say we see with our eyes. Correct? Now,
Correct.
question is, I will ask you, Which eyes are you referring to? There are two sets of eyes. Not two eyes, two sets. One is the
Correct.
physical
The
part,
physical
which
eye.
is the eye. Another
That is
is
the mind.
the sight faculty which powers this eye to make you see. Correct?
Correct.
That
Correct.
faculty, sight faculty, you cannot see. You can only see with the help of the sight faculty. Otherwise, if it is this physical eye with which we are seeing, even a dead body whose eyes are open, they should be able to see. What happens when a person dies? That faculties leave him and go away. That is what is death.
True.
So, similarly, if you just keep on thinking on these lines, you will come across, okay, there is a rebirth. I am going to be reborn. Now, how does this rebirth process takes place? How does nature or Bhagavan or whoever is there know that this person should be given this birth? He is XYZ in this birth, so he should become an animal, or he should become a plant, or he should become a devata in the next month. How does he know? Is it something very, he does it arbitrarily and all that? Those people who have done a lot of puja, charity, he has helped me, he has actually prayed to me, I will make him a devata. No. That's why the concept of dharma, punya, papa comes into the picture. So you do a lot of actions, right actions, wrong actions, gain punya, gain papa. Where are these punya, papa recorded and stored? So if you study Tattva Bodha, you will know that these are stored in a part of your own body called Karana Sharira. Again, the Karana Sharira is subtler than the internal body, which is the Sukshma Sharira. At least Sukshma Sharira, a doctor can see with some instruments and all that, or he can even cut open and see how the heart is beating and all that. Karana Sharira, nobody can see. That there is a Karana Sharira, we come to know only through the Shastras. And that Karana Sharira is the hard disk where all your punyas and papas are stored. And when a person dies, the Sukshma Sharira and the Karana Sharira leave his body and travel to take the next body. Next body is determined on the basis of what is stored in the Karana Sharira's punya and papa, on the basis of which punya and which papa are ready for maturity. Because not all punyas and papa will mature at the same time. There are laws of karma are there, which we don't know the details, but that is taken care of, what we say, by Bhagavan, by the cosmic order. It takes care of it. So they will, whichever is maturing, that will become a prarabdha karma, and the next birth will be there. So when we make this inquiry into the self, we start with the stula sharira, go inner and inner and inner, and then there we will reach. We will ask a question to ourselves. Fine, all this is good. I am able to speak now. I am able to breathe. I am able to see. I am doing all these activities. I am reborn. I believe in that. How does it all take place? Who does all these things? And we say Bhagavan does it. What do you mean by Bhagavan? As I explained yesterday in the Bhagavad Gita class. For us, Bhagavan is the cosmic force, the cosmic order. That determines everything. How does it determine what is the nature of this cosmic order? By a cosmic order, are you referring to all these mountains and trees and things like that and all? We say no. Understand the cosmic order. There are three elements of cosmic order. One is existence. When you are saying something is, that is which you put in English refers to that cosmic order of existence, Sat. Then when you are seeing living things, sentient things, there is the second element of the cosmic order called consciousness, Chit. And then you know yourself to be limited, time-wise limited, space-wise limited. I am here now. I cannot be somewhere else at the same time, right? I am occupying a certain space. Unless I vacate this space, nothing else can occupy this space. So that limitation is there space-wise. Time-wise, I am born on so-and-so date. I will die on so-and-so date. So time-wise also is limited. But what is that cosmic order? That cosmic order is limitless. It continues to exist. So all these things, when you start, going into an understanding, you then find that the reality of the cosmic order is not the trees, this mountain, the sun, the moon, the planets, etc. The reality of the cosmic order is three elements, Sat, Chit and Ananda or Ananta. So once you get into this, understand and appreciate that this knowledge build-up is taking place, eventually you say that I am also part of the cosmic order. So I should not look upon myself as this body, mind, physical, this complex. I am also of the nature of Sat, Chit and Ananda or Ananta. I am limitless. I am pure existence. I am pure consciousness. That understanding, when it comes, then this, what you say, the identification of the word self with this body, mind, sense complex will fall away. You will still be having the body, mind, sense complex, but you will not identify with it. In fact, you will not go around saying, somebody asks you, who are you? You will not say, Aham Brahmasmi, because that other person may not understand. But if it's a Mahatma asks you, who are you? And he knows that you are a accomplished, you have done all the sadhanas. To him you can say, Aham Brahmasmi. The Mahatma you can say, because he will understand what you are saying. Not ordinary people will not understand. In fact, if you go around telling everybody, Aham Brahmasmi, they will say, hey, this fellow has gone.
Gone nuts.
Gone off the rockers. Something is, some little bit Vedanta he has done, and Vedanta has confused his brain. That's what they will say. So never should say all these things to common people. And that's why, like Ramana Maharshi is a Brahmanishta, he is a realized soul. But he has not, in this birth, gone to a guru and learned how to teach. That's why whenever we ask, anybody asks Ramana Maharshi, what is the way to attain moksha? He will say, ask yourself, who am I? Go and meditate, who am I, who am I, who am I? Now, if you have no background, the only answer you will keep getting is, you say, who am I, who am I? Oh, I am Ganapathy, I am Krishna, I am so and so, and all the answer you will get. That is not going to give you moksha. And if you say it loudly, maybe your spouse from the kitchen will shout, you are an idiot, sitting and doing all these faltu things. That is the answer you will get for who am I. So therefore, just repeating who am I in your mind is not going to lead anywhere. You have to learn the scriptures, you have to learn. But what he says has got a very fundamental and a fantastic, profound message. Find out who you really are. You are not this body, mind, sense complex. Find out who you really are. If you don't get the answer yourself, go to a guru who can teach you what is the answer, who am I, to answer that. So that is how the whole thing is. And once you get to that stage, this confusion between the real self and what we take as self, the assumed self, that will become clear. I don't know whether I have your doubt or confused you more.
No. It is settled, like, for example, from a layman's perspective, wherever when you say knowledge, means reading various scriptures.
Correct.
And when you say self-knowledge, to say how much have I understood the scripture, have I absorbed anything at all? That will be the self, perhaps knowledge evaluation, you can say.
Correct, correct. Because he's a layman, he has done it himself. He has not gone to a guru. When you go, he will tell you what is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is what you can put it other way, knowledge of the self. Next, you can add real, the knowledge of the real self. So a guru only can tell you all these things. If you do on your own, some read some texts and things like that, English translations and all. You with using a dictionary for Sanskrit words and all, you will not gain anything.
Like many people say, no, self-styled God man.
Yeah, self-styled. They don't even acknowledge that what they are talking is scriptural. They say, no, I have never studied the scripture. But what they talk, most of the time, of course, sometimes they talk rubbish also.
True.
What they say is all there in the scriptures only. So possibility, giving them the benefit of doubt, maybe they learned all these things in the previous birth or previous births. So they are continuing to that knowledge because, mind you, your samskaras also go with you to the next birth. And samskaras include the knowledge that you have gained. That's why some people are able to tap that and recollect all that knowledge. You have small children playing mridangam, violin, and
correct.
without learning anything, so that those things are already there in you.
Gifted people, yeah.
Recall is the problem. So these people who are self-styled gurus, they might have studied the scriptures in the previous birth, but in this birth, they recall a part of it and they are able to talk about it. Other times, they are not able to recall it, so they talk some nonsense. That's what they do. They get confused themselves and they confuse. They are also confused, they confuse others also. But we don't need to go there. We have got much better gurus, right from Adi Shankara, in the Sampradaya. We just need to stick to these gurus only, rather, and study their commentaries. And there's so many of them. Things will become very clear, rather. So that is how we have to proceed. Okay.
Thank you very much,
identification is there with this body-mind complex. That identification has to be slowly, gradually moved, decide, then identify. Not for the worldly purposes. In your own mind, in your own understanding, you have to do that. Because all the impurities are sitting in this body, mind, sense complex. There is no impurity in the Atma. So all those things, as you study more and more, will become very clear. Okay. Thank you. Okay,
thank you very much.
What is your question? Hariom. Namaskaram. Sulekha ji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
If you can just clarify or reiterate this process of the body, mind, sense complex as not being our real self and the idea of self-knowledge, can we then consider that the body, mind, sense complex is like a metaphor, like a vehicle that we use? And in order for us to receive or unfold the knowledge within us, we have to clear out those impurities as a chitta shuddhi or through those sadhanas that you had mentioned. And that vehicle we often assume is us, and it is really journeying through which our true self or the essence or the Atma is using us to be able to clear or remove these impurities for us to be able to receive or unfold the knowledge. I hope I'm being clear. I think I'm confusing myself in that sense.
No, it's a very simple process.
The real self and the not real self.
The self that you perceive as yourself is not the real self. The real self you cannot perceive. Atma you cannot perceive with any of your sense organs. All our knowledge that we are getting, materialistic knowledge or call it empirical knowledge, you get through 5 sense organs, right? Eyes, ears, touch and all that kind of thing. Atma, you cannot use any of them 5 to know them rather. Therefore, Atma can be known, such a thing is there. And that is your real self can be known only through the Upanishads. That is why Upanishads become a pramanam, because pramanam means means of knowledge. All the five sense organs are also pramanam. Eyes are pramanam for whatever is to be seen. Ears are pramanam for whatever is to be heard. Right? So the five sense organs are also called pramanams only in the Shastra. But then there is no pramanam or need of knowledge for knowing the Atma itself. So that is why we use the Shastra Pramanam, the Upanishads. And that is the importance of considering Shastra as the only means of knowledge. That Atma is there, conscious and all, who is that is need to unmute. So Atma is there, no physics, chemistry and all they will teach. But only Upanishads teach this. Okay. Now what is the process? Today, starting point is I am so and so and so, I am Sulekha, I am Ganapathy, this body, mind, sense complex, everything is there. When I say I have got a headache, you are referring that to Ganapathy has got a headache, correct? I am happy, referring Ganapathy is happy. The body of Ganapathy is happy, the mind of Ganapathy is happy. Right? That's what we say. That's a starting point. Then we start questioning ourselves. When you say that, when somebody tells you what you are taking yourself as the self is not the real self. Now you know that that person is not making a joke. He's a serious person. He's especially a Mahatma rather, who is revered by everybody in the society, who is a sannyasi, who doesn't have any agenda of his to tell you that you are not the real self. Then you start thinking, oh, what is it that he is talking about? And that is where you start this whole process. And one of the first, I would say, important step that needs to be recognized is that real self cannot be understood or known with the present state of your mind or buddhi. Right? I will talk about this in the next class. Actually, because this example I am giving, even to paint your house, put a fresh coat of paint. What you have to do? Remove the previous coat, scrub it away with sandpaper or whatever it is, and then only apply a fresh coat. Similarly, there are so many impurities in our mind, and those impurities are directly connected with my understanding that I am the body, mind, sense complex. I am this ego. And that ego is leading to all these anger, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. These are all the impurities sitting. So the first thing that I have to do is what? I have to scrub my mind out of all these things. That I have to do. That is the Karma Yoga sadhana. Once you have done that, you have prepared the mind. And on that prepared mind, this knowledge of the self as Satchidananda will easily come and sit. Till such time, you can take it that your mind is not fully prepared. So you will not understand it, you will get confused. It's all because our minds are not fully prepared now. But the more and more you listen to it, the more and more Karma Yoga sadhanas you do it, that cleansing process will keep taking place. Now it also depends upon how much of these impurities are there in the mind that you don't know. Isn't it? For how many crores of births these impurities have actually got grease and whatever you call, they have got settled down in the mind. Not very easy to clean. So you cannot say that do Karma Yoga for 3 years, your mind will be clean. Nobody can say. Depends upon what the current state of your mind is. So that is the only thing that we can do at this stage. Do karma yoga. But at the same time, when we are doing karma yoga, in order not to lose the time or opportunity, we also side by side learn the messages of the Upanishads, which are conveyed through all these, Prakarana Granthas, like Tattva Bodha, Vivekachudamani, and all that. So many Prakarana Granthas are there. As I said, they are in different levels. There are Mandadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari, different levels are there. These Prakarana Granthas. So we study these Prakarana Granthas also side by side, and both will come together. How to do this process of cleansing the mind, purification of the mind, and as even when the mind is getting more and more purified, you will realize that more and more of this knowledge is getting settled. Slowly, what appeared to be the dark clouds, right? What appeared to be the dark clouds are slowly moving away. Some slight sunshine is coming through. Still the clouds are dark and it is not very, very clear sunshine. But you can start seeing some sunshine is coming. That means what? You can see the other end of the tunnel clearly. There is at least some, like a peephole, some light is coming. Continue the process of karma yoga. You are almost there, kind of a thing. So that is the whole process. I mean, in words, one can only say so many things. It is
right.
What to experience oneself rather. That's all.
No,
And experienced will tell us, and we have to trust them. We have to go by what they say. And personally for me, that is what I am doing. So I can tell you that it works. That's all I can say. I can't give you any proof for that. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And thank you for your response, because I think sometimes hearing it more than once and hearing it in different ways and hearing it many times over and over again, and then listening and then reflecting on it, then maybe it slowly does enter in. I think I've asked this question to you before, so I appreciate your patience in
you can ask any number of times.
Responding again.
Yeah. As long as I don't contradict myself.
And no, I think you've explained it again very nicely, and it's really that understanding of going again, who am I, and not having it as a scholarly knowledge, but absorbing it and reflecting it through the sadhana practices in order to clear or clarify or remove the impurities. So thank you again, Guruji. I appreciate it. Thank you for your clarification.
Upanishads and all, there are beautiful examples given. For example, you are breathing, right? How do you live? What is the secret? You say, I am a living body. How does life sustain in your body? You say, I breathe, right? Oxygen goes in, carbon dioxide comes out. I breathe, okay. How does that breathing takes place? Question, right? No, you say, no, I just pull from my nose and pull. What helps you to do that action of pulling and pushing out? So Vedanta is nothing but asking the next logical question. The next logical question is, why is a dead body not able to do that? Why you are able to do that? What is the difference between you and dead body? So when you keep on asking this question, you will find the answers coming through. Oh, this is the thing, this is the thing. Eventually you will say, I am a conscious being. Consciousness is what is helping me do all these things. It is the electricity which is powering me. And that is why this bulb, which is me, is glowing. Because of the electricity which I cannot see. Whereas in a dead body, even though electricity is there, the bulb has become fused. So it cannot do this. So you like that, you start, understanding all these things with Lots of examples Upanishads give. Lots of examples are given in Prakarana Granthas also. So we learn all those things and then things become clear to us. That's the process. Takes time.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah,
All we have is time. Thank you,
Yeah.
Guruji.
that's true.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other
Namaste.
question? Anybody else? Nothing? Okay, fine. Then I will close the session and meet you next week. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om Pranam.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Pranam, pranam.
Hari Om Guruji. Good night.